Hi South Heights, this is Miss Overton, and I'm excited to say that on October 2nd, we're going to have an author here at South Heights. Remember that an author is the person who writes the words in the story. Our author is Kevin Janison, and he has written the book Deputy Dorkface, How Sugaropolis Got Dessert Back. So sit back, relax, and listen to our story. Deputy Dorkface, How Sugaropolis Got Dessert Back. Once upon a time in the western region of Switzerland, there was a dessert lover's paradise, Sugaropolis, the sweetest town on earth. Sugarcane grew in fields all around town. The bakery baked delicious pies, cakes, and pastries. The donut hole boasted thousands of whole donuts and donut holes. And in the 10,031 flavors, advertised that many kinds of ice cream. The overwhelming and tantalizing aroma of yummy sweets drifted from every direction. At the Dessert First Diner, guests could spin the wheel of frosting before and after dinner to win a free dessert. The wheel was filled with pictures of pies, ice cream, sundaes, cookies, cakes, and shakes. Lucky diners waited eagerly for the arrow to point to the sweet addition of their meal. On Candy Lane, Carly and Haley enjoyed a freshly made chocolate cream pie. Over on Rocky Road, Andrew and Kyle stuck their fingers into the vanilla icing on the marble cake Kyle's mom had baked. In Sugaropolis, dessert was special. For years, everyone, especially kids, couldn't wait to get past the meatloaf and green peas to gobble up sweets of every kind. Life for the sugary town's residents was extremely tasty until strange things began to occur all around the community. Last Saturday, a Little League player running from second to third dropped in his tracks and sprawled out for a snooze. Over on the playground, kids were playing hopscotch. Mysteriously, their teeth fell right out of their mouths. The 100-yard dash turned into a stroll that lasted 30 minutes. The annual Sugaropolis swimming pool cannonball competition produced a flash flood. At the high school, the two-step was reduced to 1. School had to be extended to 6:30 because the students needed a nap to get through the day. Finally, parents reported a shocking discovery. The kids didn't have enough energy to play video games. Their thumbs were too tired. One evening, Dylan Dorkface, son of Deputy Dorkface, told Mama Dorkface that he was just too full to finish his dinner. However, just minutes later, Dylan asked his mom, "What's for dessert?" "Too full for dinner, but plenty of room for dessert? What's going on here?" thought Deputy Dorkface. As the town's only official, the deputy knew he had to do something, so he slammed the door, put on his hat, and raced out the door. As always, most Sugaropolians were glued to the chocolate channel on Switzerland cable TV. Suddenly, the volume lowered, followed by 3 long, loud beeps. The deputy's face filled the screen. He cleared his throat and proceeded with a special announcement. "This is Deputy Dorkface here with an emergency bulletin for the health, safety, and well-being of all Sugaropolians. It has come to my attention that the young people of Sugaropolis are not behaving like regular kids. The reason is too many sweets. So, to return Sugaropolis to the city it once was, I officially proclaim, hereto, whereunder, thereby, from this day forth, all desserts, candies, sodas, cookies, ice cream, shakes, and cakes are banned. We now continue with your regularly scheduled program." Uh-oh. No more. Moans and groans erupted from homes all over the city. Kids ran to the kitchen for their last bite of sweet treats before the dessert police came by to collect the goodies. Residents caught concealing candy, cakes, and other assorted desserts were sentenced to 1 year of eating only cauliflower and eggplant with mustard. Yuck. Shocked and upset kids ran outside into the streets. By 8 p.m., a mob of young Sugaropolians arrived at their secret clubhouse in the trees of Peppermint Park. The kids' shouts and loud exclamations droned out Haley, who tried to call the meeting to order. "This is not fair. I'm never going to eat again. Cauliflower with mustard? Ick!" Haley banged the gavel and yelled above the clamor. "This emergency meeting of the kids of Sugaropolis must come to order. Calm down. We need to get our ideas together to get our dessert back." "Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yes, please," shouted the young, overflowed, crowded, packed kids in the treehouse. The super secret gathering lasted more than an hour. When the kids left the meeting, they wore determined faces. They all wanted to seize their desserts back right now. Outside of the clubhouse, Carly nailed their declaration to the tree. It was signed by all the kids, and it said, "We cannot live without sweets. We want our desserts. You can't do this to us. We, the kids of Sugaropolis, declare war. We declare a food fight. You have been warned." When the sun rose the very next morning, the day seemed quiet, peaceful, and normal. But when the last school bell rang, something was very different. First, the students achieved their highest scores on their math test. Then the kids ran home from school with more energy than before. While Deputy Dorkface was out on his patrol, his vehicle was abruptly T-boned by a T-bone. He jumped out of his car to find the culprits, and another group of kids peppered him with pepper. Sneezing and snorting, Deputy Dorkface screamed, "I'll get you, kids! I'll throw you all in the slammer!" The deputy rushed to his car to call his fellow officers. Then the kids stretched bubblegum around his car. He was stuck. When the Sugaropolis police cruisers arrived, they couldn't avoid the falling and exploding watermelons being launched from the roof of a nearby building. One police officer slammed on his brakes so hard that the airbags deployed, but the kids had filled the airbags with marshmallow cream, and a sticky, sugary mess exploded all over the officer. He could barely move, and everything he touched stuck to him. The food fight lasted for 2 hours. Even Dylan Dorkface joined the melee. He loaded the fire hydrant with chocolate syrup and sprayed his dad until he resembled a giant hot fudge sundae. The deputy was not amused. Some kids used slingshot to catapult tomatoes at Deputy Dorkface. Others used licorice and candy canes for bows and arrows. This turned into a complete mess. The National Guard came in helicopters. The kids were surrounded and trapped, and now they were in big, big trouble. The perpetrators of the biggest, gooeyest mess Sugaropolis had ever seen were rounded up in the town square. One by sticky one, the kids were loaded into a huge paddy wagon and taken to the police station. Deputy Dorkface let the kids sit in jail for a while to think about what they had done. At the same time, a large group of concerned parents gathered outside. The moms and dads were really angry. The kids knew that while they were in trouble now, there was nothing compared to the big, big trouble they had coming once they were released, if they were ever released. After what felt like a really long time behind bars, which was only 15 minutes, several kids asked if they could speak with Deputy Dorkface. The deputy was wiping off the food that had been thrown at his way. He still had sticky caramel in his hair. "Why should I listen to you?" "Because I have an idea," said Carly. It got very quiet in the station as each of the kids apologized and proposed their ideas to the deputy. They hoped Sugaropolis would return to the sweet but healthy city it had been before Deputy Dorkface had to ban desserts. Finally, after 6 hours of talking, a breakthrough. "We, the kids of Sugaropolis, hereby agree to eat 75% of our dinner, which includes 80% of our vegetables and 50% of any additional side dish before we are eligible for dessert. We will exercise and play outdoors. We also agree to help clean up after dinner." Just then, Carly jabbed Haley in the ribs with her elbow and whispered loud enough for everyone to hear, "Enough already." The crowd of onlookers and kids cheered. The excited children raced into the arms of their weary parents. Moms and dads were happy to get their children back, but the kids were still grounded for their part in the food fight. From that day on, families of Sugaropolis exercised and played together, and sweets tasted even better when they followed a healthy meal. The day the kids stopped being grounded, they brought a special treat to Deputy Dorkface. "What's this? I can't eat sweets before my dinner." "But Dad," Dylan said, "it's carrot cake." Everyone enjoyed a laugh, and Sugaropolis, Switzerland, was the sweetest town once again. Yum-ee.